The regular meeting of the Clarke County Board of Education will now come to order. Ms. McNamara, would you call the roll?
Dr. Spangler?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Ms. Wright? Here. Mrs. Ellis?
Here.
Mr. Worthy?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Huff?
Here.
Mrs. Thornton?
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Board members, let me remind you when you're speaking, make sure you speak into the mic so you can be heard. We have an amendments to the agenda. Amendments.
We do have an amendment. Look in your important packet, please. It's in yellow, number 20, and that is district-wide computer purchase. This is for the laptops. I want to add that for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanu. Do we have any other amendments? Any other amendments? I need a motion to approve this amendment. I need a motion to approve. Moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Thank you very much. Now I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Mr. Huff. Got a second on that, second by Mr. Payne. All in favor? All in favor? Unanimous vote, motion passed. Okay, I'd like for you to stand, join us in a moment of silent meditation. We'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, recognition of achievements and awards.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. I am pleased to recognize many outstanding individuals from the Clarke County School District tonight. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. First, we will recognize the top 4 overall winning team from the National Education Startup Challenge. And this was awarded due to Education Matters, the official voice of youth, which is an educational radio program by Clarke Central High School students that airs on WXAG, The Light. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, and then we will call up the leadership. Education Matters is a production of the High School Completion Initiative. They are in the business of promoting the value of being educated. They see education as the key to escaping poverty. Their mission statement says, "This corporation is established to empower struggling students and dropouts in the Metro Athens area to become employable by completing their secondary education, either by graduating from high school or obtaining a GED, thereby enabling them to pursue post-secondary education and well-paying jobs. They also seek to raise public awareness of the level of high school dropouts in Athens and the consequences to increase the commitment by all citizens and institutions to prevent high school dropouts." And so we will recognize them and their project. Again, it's an educational radio program. So from Clarke Central High School, Jasmine Gay, student producer. Jasmine, come on up. Rick Dunn is the executive producer of the program. Kenneth Gibbs is the video broadcast instructor, and Vicki Shell is the marketing teacher. Congratulations to all. Our next recognition is due to the Healthy Schools Day national recognition our district received. The Clarke County School District Plant Services and Custodial Operations Department received national recognition for participation in the Healthy School Network's National Healthy Schools Day this past spring. This is an annual school educational awareness day for schools, facilities, administrators, and staff to focus on indoor air quality and facility environmental issues that impact children in schools. As part of the National Healthy Schools Day, our own Plant Services provided teacher indoor air quality checklists for classrooms. They provided indoor air quality training to custodial staff and conducted district-wide custodial chemical inventories. This evening, we will recognize Plant Services and Custodial Operations Executive Director Kimberly Thomas for her leadership in this event.
Yeah.
Always working. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Got the foot on the gas.
Right.
Not let up.
Thank you very much. Oh, this is thank you.
Isn't that something?
I love it.
All right.
Oh, thank you. So much. Congratulations.
Good job.
Mr. Red? How are you doing? Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Next, we will recognize our Gold Medal Award winners from the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, or FCCLA National Conference. And our winners are from Bernie Harris Lyons Middle School. More than 6,800 nationwide members, alumni, advisors, and guests of FCCLA gathered this past July for its National Leadership Conference. We had 2 students from BHL among them. These students, who I'll call up in a moment, Tori and Tiara, were also invited to compete with over 3,500 other students from across the U.S. in the 2012 National STAR, and that STAR stands for Students Taking Action for Recognition, event competitions held during the conference. And so we'd like to recognize them for their gold medals. We have Tiara Hayes, who received a gold medal in Chapter Service Project Display. And Tori Nunley, who received a gold medal in the Recycle and Redesign competition.
Gold medal.
And we also wanted to recognize the chapter advisor, Robin Baxter. Next, we'll recognize our technician competition winners. Each year, the Georgia Department of Education Pupil Transportation Division hosts a state technician competition to recognize the top technicians in the state. We had 2 technicians who won local and regional competitions and represented us at the state level very well. First, we'd like to recognize Dallas Gabriel, who is a fleet technician, and he won 2nd place in the Northeast Georgia Technician Competition.
That sounds good.
And we'd also like to recognize bus driver Willie Williams, who participated at the state competition and won 1st place in our local rodeo competition.
We're proud of you.
Excellent, excellent. Good job.
That's a great job.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Participate in GSBA bus stop training.
And finally, we will recognize our 4-star employee award winners. And these employees received this recognition due to nominations that were made by any school district employee, students, community member, anyone who was touched by the lives of these employees. And our first one is Melissa or Missy Davis. She's a school secretary from Whit Davis. And Missy had to move recently, so she's no longer with us. But Vicki Person Bettis, who was a thankful teacher in the building, nominated her. And Vicki's here tonight to accept this award on her behalf. So I'm going to read this nomination. On any given morning, regardless of glorious weather, parents at Whit Davis Elementary School bring children to the office checking them in long after the second bell has rung. The parents and children often look tired. Quietly standing in line, both parent and children look confused, eyes cast to the floor. This is where Missy Davis enters the story. With a quiet demeanor and warm smile, Missy approaches the line of parents, sits at the check-in desk, and offers to help each parent check in their child. As Missy works to assist the parents, shoulders that arrived slumped straighten to a relaxed stance. Glazed eyes begin to reflect a twinkle, and children leave for class, hugging parent and Missy goodbye. After parents return to their destinations and children are in class, Missy never grouses about the tardy children or makes comments about the late parents she helped that morning. This is one of the many contributions Missy brings to her to work every day. She loves everyone who crosses her life, especially the children of Whit Davis Elementary School. She represents everything that Whit Davis hopes to reflect in the school community. Mrs. Davis's smile is the first thing everyone sees as they enter Whit Davis School. I can't think of a better way to start or end a work day. We will certainly miss Missy, and we'd like to ask Vicki to come up and accept this award on her behalf. Thank you.
Can't receive her honor.
And we have her mailing address, so she knows about it and will receive it. Next, we'd like to recognize Sherry Lewis, who is an instructional coach at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School. And Sherry was nominated for this award by her supervisor, Scarlett Dunn. Is Ms. Lewis here this evening? Okay. Next, we have Jamie Marshall, who is a severe profound special education teacher at Gaines Elementary School. Is Jamie here? Wonderful. And Jamie was nominated for this award by Erica Douglas, who is a team leader and coworker. She said, Jamie is one of the hardest working special education teachers that we have at our school. She serves 6 children with severe profound intellectual disabilities. With this group of students, Jamie goes above and beyond what most would consider a teacher's duties. Not only does Jamie have to provide access to the GPS for her students, she also has to make sure that their individual care needs are met. Jamie's students are 100% dependent on her and her staff for all their needs. Jamie's classroom runs on a tight schedule, managing to teach academics, but also to do tube feedings, stretching, positioning, feeding skills, toileting, and other therapies. Jamie's attitude is always positive, and she is incredible in adapting the GPS for her students. Although they may not be able to express themselves verbally, you can see the love for Ms. Jamie in each of the students' eyes. They know Ms. Jamie loves them. Congratulations.
We appreciate you very much.
Congratulations for my work.
Thank you for all you do.
Thanks for what you do. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And our final award winner was unable to attend this evening, but I did want to share that winner is Claire Henderson Smith. She's a 4th and 5th grade EIP teacher at Alps Road, and she was nominated by her colleague Stacy Tarbett Carson. And that concludes our recognitions. And on behalf of the Clarke County School District, I again want to thank all of you for your contributions. You represent your school district and community very well, and we thank you for all that you do.
Okay, Mr. Superintendent.
And I as well. See, we just barely have begun school and we give awards and recognition. So what does that say? That school is all year round, and you just make a difference for our children and students. You just represent us so well at both local and national competitions, and we're just proud of your work. And of course, delighted. Just want you to know, if you haven't listened to that radio, what an inspiration that show is to really get the message out to their peers and colleagues. So to all of you, thank you very much on behalf of all of us in the community.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanu. We're going to go ahead and move the agenda. We're down to item B, the minutes of previous meetings. We had 4. Reminded you last week. Review those. Hopefully you've done that, and I'm ready to entertain a motion. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second? Second by Ms. Williams. Have any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Motion passed unanimously. Dr. Lanu, Superintendent's report.
Oh, just a number of items. Of course, you could not have a superintendent's report and talk about the opening of school. We're now at day 2. We'll kind of hold on day 2. We got day 3 tomorrow, but if day 3 is like day 1 and 2, we're in really good shape. I was able to, with our team, we were able to be out in schools for the last 2 days, and it will bring smiles. What people said to me actually is it's almost like we never left. Our kids are engaged. They knew what to do. You asked them. There were a few issues. I know in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, those stickers for the bus, so we had to get those out and make sure you get on the right bus. And of course it's congested. I think that it was better today, but on the first day, of course, everyone likes to park and bring their children in, and we all would like to do that with our young children. So therefore it caused a little bit of a congestion. But in the bigger picture, they were engaged. Teaching was occurring, and a lot of smiles, and very, very upbeat at the beginning of the school year. So I just want to thank our faculty and our staff and our support staff and transportation and all those that make that possible. They really do it with pretty much, we're organized to do it, but everyone knows their job and they go get it done. It's not like we have to spend hours planning on organizing everything. They just have the work to do and they do it. But our classrooms, and certainly Dr. Price and Mr. Hardaway were there. If any comments, but I think they would concur. We were just really pleased overall. Our numbers are up. I don't think as a district, but of course each school looks that there's bulges. In particular, I think Whitehead had some large numbers. And just to let everyone know what we do in this case, we'll do we call it an actual count tomorrow. We'll get those numbers in for classes to match those with our cap size, with our maximum, and where there's less students than we thought. We will start strategizing how we'll begin to meet that demand or make some adjustments or changes. We'll do another actual head count in a week, but we'll make decisions by the end of next week to make sure that we're within our class caps. And our process is this: if school has a bulge in one class but less than another and can collapse a class in the school, they'll do that at the local level. We've moved some individuals, if they're low enrollments, to higher. Also this year, of course, because we got zero-based budgeting, we have pool positions, and so that's how we'll distribute those pool positions if there are areas that we're over our maximum. It's hard to say at this point and predict where we are. I got a sense we have more kindergartners than we thought, but I think that's probably, Ernest is shaking his head, that's pretty safe to say that kindergarten numbers are up, and in some places more than others. So that's our process. We do it every year, but our teachers, it's amazing. I talked to one time, I've got 25 kindergartners. I said, oh, we're okay. We'll wait till you figure it out, and we'll make those adjustments. So our teachers are very patient, and our parents are very patient. So it's been good in that respect. Yeah, Avita.
I accidentally ended up at the Career Academy the first day of school. I didn't even realize it was the first day of school. But I found the kids to be so mature. They really, all the horror stories we were hearing about high school kids and a kind of like a college, semi-college, it was not like that. They were quiet in the area. I thought they were up there visiting. I really did. I did not know they were up there for classes. And then I went and visited 2 classes, and the kids were engaged. One teacher said she was expecting 34. She had 32 out of the 34. So enrollment seems to be up, so it'd be good to hear midway how this is all gone. But it was nothing like I expected. It did not look like a typical high school setting.
Correct. And thanks, and I think that's what we're seeing too, that the changes we made are doing exactly what we had hoped, and I think that goes back to the initial vision of the Career Academy. We have right now roughly 125 students that are enrolled at Athens Tech doing dual enrollment, with probably another 150 or 160 students in the high school portion. Students are still enrolling, actually coming to the Career Academy for either the Excel courses or in a pathway. Athens Tech actually starts in a week and a half their courses, so they're doing some interim work. But I saw them today that They were engaged in 401. It was their career planning. Of course, we've got netbooks working, and so they're one-to-one. And then right beside it, the room is that some students, when they're in their tech pathways, are taking their academic course through Georgia Virtual and through the GAVs. And so they were getting instruction, and they were doing their academic coursework online. So it was a very, very different kind of setting. But I think I'm glad you saw what we're seeing, that the environment is different.
And even on the first day, talking to teachers, they had stories already.
Yeah.
Just amusing stories. And I remember one teacher saying that while she was teaching, two girls and a guy got up to go to the bathroom, and she said, "Where are you going?" You didn't ask for permission. They said, "We're in college.
Right.
You can get up and go when you're in college."
That's right.
So, but really, I think we wonder why they're not prepared, because somebody doesn't even tell them those simple things. And she said, "We're in college now.
Right.
You don't have to ask for permission."
And we get the Yellow Jacket coffee bar that's
Yeah.
getting ready to open there. I had their first cup of coffee today. It was a trial run. They said it's getting better. It's so you're right. When a course ends and they're not ready to go back to the school, they, like everyone else does, you grab something and start doing your work.
Really nice.
That's what you do. So we're really pleased with that, where we're at. A couple of other pieces, just an update. Of course, you know that Barrow, we moved to the east side. Need to compliment Ted and his team. Did a wonderful job with Barrow. At our current rate, Barrow's the old Gaines is going to be a great school by the time we keep facing out putting people in. It looks pretty good. It's got some really good bones to it. But the classrooms are large. The Barrow faculty did a tremendous amount of work in preparing and getting that ready. And if you went there today, you wouldn't know that it's the first or second day that they've been there. And parents have been really, really positive and upbeat, and it's going to be a good experience. And as well, kudos to the faculty at Witt and Stroud. You got to imagine, they're basically graders going down the hallway just 2 weeks ago. You would have walked in there, I can't even get into the building. I mean, it was literally the things hanging down from the ceiling and holes being cut in the floor with pipes being put down, and now you walk in and it's incredible. But the site that I can remember at Witt was the one room. It was just, it's like with construction, so you can imagine the dust. You imagine grit. I mean, we're talking dirt in a classroom, partially covered, and custodians coming in and going like, "Where do you start?" I mean, I didn't know where they started. They started on the tile. But if you went there today, you really wouldn't know it. And so they all just pitched in with each other and did a fabulous job. And and Ted, truly, I got so many compliments about your team, making sure, and Kim's team, making sure that things were right. I didn't hear once that we didn't get the support they needed, which is a tribute. That was a lot of work. But if you go into the schools, and we'll talk about that because we have to visit, it is so different. It is so different when you go into Witt and Stroud. The concept that you walk into an area of learning, you will be amazed when you walk in and see recessed areas where kids sit and work on flat screens and digital learning environments, and a library that's mobile with colors and cushions. It's just very, very different. And what's nice about that, we're able to put these ideas in place and grow those ideas as we begin to either rebuild schools or build new ones. But we won't do it now because the library's still working under construction, and they've got boxes. But when the time comes, I will tell you, you will walk in and go, "Oh my, this is going to be like schools you've never been in before." And just that was David's side and our crew and design. So it's very remarkable. And then you got some other things that happened. Just to leave one too, is we had our cruise up last night, like Whitehead, basically just beside it got hit by lightning last night. And you say, well, what happens there? Well, it took out it had all the low voltage, it took out networks, it took out switches, and that happened late last night. And by this morning, we had override, we had air conditioning back, switches, are they back in? At this point, are up. We've got a network back. We've got phones back. But those are the things you don't see behind the lines, behind the scenes when, 8 o'clock at night you go, we don't have any low voltage, we don't have any of those things. And, by noon the next day, they're back in. So that to me is very remarkable. And then the last piece, I was real pleased, and this goes a little bit to tonight when we look at our strategic plan, is you get feedback about our new goal about the health of our children. And that's been a partnership with AASA, American Association of School Administrators, which, as you know, has been a large organization in this country. But they found out what we're doing and received a personal just congratulations to our district. Nationwide is one of the said being on the cutting edge for the health of children, and received that personally from the executive director, who took the time and said, this is what we're all about. And they said Clarke County is on the map nationally for thinking and taking care of their children. So I will certainly can share that with you. But when you see that kind of recognition, some of the things that we do that we just think we should do, but are bigger and larger arenas, because some places just don't get a chance to do them. So with that said, there's a lot going on, and we've got a lot on tonight's agenda that's going to impact our district, from the strategic plan to technology. So with that ends my report this evening.
Thanks again, Dr. Lanu. We have any comments or questions for the superintendent on this report? Any questions or comments? If not, we're going to move the agenda. We're down to item E, that's report of current committees. Dr. Lanu?
SPLOS 2, SPLOS 3 reports, those are in your packet. I recommend that we approve the financial report for May of 2012.
Okay. You had an opportunity to review. Go ahead, Dr. Lanu.
You have approved, we need to approve that?
Minutes.
Financial report?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion. Moved by Dr. Spangle, seconded by Mr. Payne. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Any questions pertaining to the financial report? All in favor? Thank you. Motion passed.
GSB Director's report, Mr. Payne.
Ovita and I, we attended the Delegate Assembly in Savannah, and I'm going to yield to her to give part of the report, and I'll finish.
And I'm going to let Mr. Payne talk about one of our presenters that I thought was excellent, but I don't remember the details. I'm sorry. I feel like yarns ago. But what I did pass out to you was the Delegates Assembly. And we've said this before, and maybe I just need to be a little bit more proactive in making sure we get, and getting with Mr. Payne about the issues that we vote on at the Delegate Assembly, because what I have observed over the years, the board is, when Mr. Payne votes, he's voting saying that this board supports those recommendations. And so we just need to be a little bit more proactive, and I guess Mr. Payne and I can work better to make sure you get those items, and when he votes, he'll be voting on behalf of the board. So that's just the package on some of the amendments and the changes that they have. The other thing I left you, and we're going to hear more about it as we get closer, is about the whole charter school movement. And we heard a little bit tonight at the Melting Pot, and GSBA and everybody else that cares about public education is organizing to try to get the word out. So I did send some information about the charter school, and we'll probably get more. The only other thing, and the other thing I think I passed out was the accomplishments of GSBA. It's the glossy sheet, so that'll let you know what's going on with GSBA. And the workshops, again, was excellent. The one workshop, and I'm going to let Mr. Payne talk about the other gentleman we spoke about yesterday, but the one workshop that really amazed me, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name, but it was about technology. And this whole technology, and I think I said it before, this whole technology thing is real. It's not, we talk about the virtual world, but technology is not virtual, it's real. And the presentation that the gentleman shared really hit home with, for me, the direction that we're going as far as technology is concerned. So I do commend our technology department and the superintendent and those who've had that vision, because I was quite happy with my little laptop. but I do know this is the way of the future, and I think it's good to be prepared. So I'll just move on. Does anybody have any questions for me? Please don't, because I don't have no answers. Mr. Payne, I'll turn it back over to you.
I had thought Ovidia was going to announce Dr. Stevens. He is an outstanding educator. He travels all over the country, and he has established schools in Washington, D.C., New York, San Francisco, Chicago, and other places. And all of his boys graduate from high school, and all of his students go on to college. This has been his motto for many, many years, and he is continuing to do that. And people are calling him. He has many books out, and he is an outstanding educator. The other thing I wanted, she just gave you this. There are 5. The first one is governance of education. That's number 1, and there are 4 others. But the only 2 that was questioned in our debate while we were there was number 1, A1, and A2. Selection of Georgia Board of Education and State School Superintendent. They challenged that, and it was defeated, and it was be on the ballot next year. And A2, partisan election. That was those who fear that we shouldn't recommend partisan election, that board members should register as a Democrat or Republican, and not knowing that this is nothing that the Georgia School Board Association or anybody can do, because your representatives have to pass the legislation in Atlanta, and the people in your county will have to vote on it. It's not a done deal. If the people in your community, the people in Clarke County voted that we would have nonpartisan election, and it passed, and that's why we have it. And you can't, and Georgia School Board, nobody else can put it in your county. Your people have to vote on it. That was the 2, and they were defeated. But it is incumbent upon me to bring you some of the. I want you to read all that from GSBA, but Sis wanted you to understand that you are a paying member. Not only is Clarke County a paying member of the Georgia School Board Association, but the Workman Comp and Risk Management, we are a member of both funds. And so therefore we need to know exactly what we're doing at GSBA with your money and with the funds. First, I want to call your attention to the Georgia School Board Association and Georgia Superintendents Association Vision for Public Education. This program began about 4 years ago, and it's coming down the pike now. And I'll just read to you where it stands with Georgia School Board Association. We have over 80% of the school systems that have signed to support this vision initiative. I will not try to name the organizations and companies that are supporting the vision initiative. The president of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce spoke at our last meeting, lending his support for the vision project. 13 of the 15 schools in my district are in support of the vision project. One state has adopted the total plan. 5 states have adopted parts of the plan. We have been invited to present this plan at the National School Board Association in San Diego next year. E-Board Solutions. 10 years ago, when Mark Willis announced to the executive board that he would like to start this project, it was not in the budget. Therefore, we had to amend the budget. After getting the board of directors approval, it passed and it took off. Today we are in, and I call Mark because it's moving so fast. In our last reporting meeting, there were 12 states that we were providing this services. And when I call him today at 4 o'clock, there are 18 states. We are now in 18 states across America. Mark has made presentation at the last 2 NSBA meetings. At our last meeting, Mark announced School Board U. This is brand new. a board member can register online and take board members training anytime, anywhere, with an iPhone or an iPad or a computer. Meaning that those board members who do not want to go to Georgia School Board Association, who do not want to come to their district for training, they can go online and register and take this training individually. 12 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday afternoon, or whenever they want to take it. All you have to do is register, and you can take your training at home or wherever you want to take it. And this is, as she just said, technology is moving so fast, you can't keep up with it. In 1992, the Workers' Compensation Fund began with 7 members, and Clarke County was one of those 7 members. Printed on our insurance certificate, we would need $500,000 in reserve at the end of the 3rd year to continue, or we would not be allowed to operate. The time was closing in on us. We had less than 3 weeks. We needed $150,000. 2 weeks before the deadline, 3 new members joined. And we were spared and we were saved. 2 years ago, at our annual meeting, I asked the director of the Risk Management Fund and field members to try to get 100 members in 3 years. At that time, we had 73 members. I'm happy to report tonight we have 91 members and 1 year to go. 3 of the new members are coming back. They was members before. And this is the good news. This is what you've been waiting for. Workers' Compensation Fund, total liability and net assets, $36,112,120. Reserve, $11,900,996. We're in good shape with our insurance at GSBA. And risk management. The mission of the Georgia School Board Association Risk Management Service is to partner with Georgia public school system to foster a culture of safety, to protect their assets, to minimize their losses through alternative to traditional insurance. We have never stated that we are an insurance company, but we are joined together to support each other in times of disaster, in times of need, that we can join together. We have 91 school districts now in this fund, and so that makes us very powerful, and we are very happy, and it's a family affair. In closing, allow me to tell you a few things about our organization. We were blessed in selecting Sis Henry as our executive director. 2 years ago, she was honored as the best executive director in America by the National School Board Association. Sis Henry is a visionary. One of the first initiatives was that of introducing strategic planning and new programs. One of her best qualities is her ability to recognize and hire the best employees. We have the best staff in America at GSBA. They give more than 100%. No one is paid a commission. The president, chairman, district directors, all serve free. We don't get paid a cent. It doesn't make any difference if you write a policy for $300,000 or $75,000. You get the same amount. Many state school boards operate on dues, and it averages from 45% to 70%, and they operate on the dues that are paid into the organization. We are the lowest. Only 15% of our dues go towards operation. We operate on the service we provide. superintendent searches, policies, training, conferences, associate members, contractors, architects, vendors, and many others. We are not just an organization. We are a family. Dr. Lanu, I want to thank you and your staff for an outstanding job last year. We are not where we want to be, but we're on our way. Thank you very much. And to the board, thank you for your support. And thank God for the more than 700 dedicated teachers. They are our best. That's my report.
Mr. Payne, going back to when you mentioned about the nonpartisan election of school board members, and I'm assuming now that GSBA is not supporting that.
Yes, we supported that. That was the number one. That's number one every year.
What you're saying, you're supporting it by putting it out that you.
No.
They don't want.
No, we are suggesting that all school board members be nonpartisan.
Okay, that's what. Okay, all right. I was confused on that. I got you now. Okay.
All school board members be nonpartisan.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they are kicking against it, and we don't have anything. That's just a suggestion. We can't do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
If we could do it, we would do it. But we can't do it.
Well, good that you can. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Lanu. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dr. Stark.
One thing that Mr. Payne said about we're paying members with GSBA, and I know we're dealing with our finance issues, but I did pass out on this section their financial report. I'll let you pass it down. I think I have enough for the board members, but that's the consolidated financial report for GSBA.
Yes, I didn't give that.
Okay, so
I just only gave the I just only gave the one on the workman compensation. And thank you. I didn't give the one on the risk management, so I need to give that. Total liabilities and net access for the risk management fund is $28,614,801. In reserve, we have $7,789,801. So we are in good shape, and we are doing fine. We're doing fine. Start off with 7 members, and 3 years we needed $500,000, and now we're in the million.
Okay.
one thing I do want to say, one of the things that has become a highlight and is growing is I'll say the motivational morning event that Mr. Payne has started. I remember the first couple of times there was about 5 of us down there, but there's about a room packed now, and it's very, very inspirational and motivational. Those are the correct words. That's politically correct.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Lanu, you ready to move to item F?
I can, if I could, remember, just digress for a minute, because there's one item I didn't
I'm sorry,
mention
that's
under
right.
my
Go back.
superintendent's report, so my apologies, but Tim and Lewis are here, and I wanted, Tim, if you'd be willing to give us a 1-minute synopsis, our grant for whatever it takes, for the Promised Neighborhood has been submitted. It has been a joint venture. It's been a journey, but we are, our committees are working partners in this grant and have been along the way. And so we are really true partners, along with many others, but we're heavily invested in this project. And Tim, could you just give us a thumbnail in terms of at least the timelines? And I put you on the spot, but you know this, so.
The 1 minute is difficulty, but I'll do that.
2 minutes, whatever.
And the school district absolutely is, other than the families themselves, the school district is the key partner for this, because we're talking about all our kids being successful in school and on course to graduate from post-secondary education. But and every single strategic action team has active engagement by school personnel and by neighborhood leaders from our neighborhoods, including Dr. Price co-chairing the K-12 team and so forth. But the new proposal is very similar to last year's. There's actually much more in terms of what we're asking for from funding directly related to school district programs, With the funding, we would expand IB into the 2 elementary schools in the zone. We would increase the numbers of professors and residents using this funding so that all the schools in both the Alps and Fowler zones would have professors and residents. And a lot related to health, to all these different issues you all are addressing. But the district is really been extraordinary in its partnership, including some of the board members, I should add. But,
And I would say, Tim, too, and maybe explaining, thank you, Tim, but it has been working, but the Alp zone was the original proposal, but this has gone and
Yeah,
talk about the expanding of zones.
over time, we had always said we're going to eventually go over to the east side as well, and initially with the Fowler zone. And we decided to move ahead this year in our request. And so it would be Fowler, all children of all ages living in the Fowler Elementary School attendance zone, as well as all children of all ages living in the Alps Elementary School attendance zone. And as you know, those are very different zones.
Yes.
One is the most urban zone in the county. One is very rural. One is predominantly African American. The other is about 50% African American and a little less than 50% Hispanic. And great teachers, great staff in both, but really we felt like those, when we're successful in those zones, those lessons will fit anywhere in the district.
But it's pretty lengthy. It's about, what, 800? I don't know. That's pretty big.
661 pages.
There you go. He's got it done. I know.
And the grant narrative, I would be happy to share with any of you. It's only 80 pages and it's double spaced.
I think I have it. We'll send that on to the board and some light reading.
Digital.
Digital, definitely digital. Timeline, Tim, for this, the
Okay,
proposal?
it's now in the hands of the Department of Education, and so sorry about that. Thought I'd turn that off. It's in the hands of the U.S. Department of Education. It will be reviewed over the coming months. Their commitment is to announce no later than December 31st for January 1st startup. But it probably will be
Plenty of lead
pretty
time on
close.
that. You got
Exactly.
24 hours. Perfect.
And it's about $6 million a year for 5 years, with over $14 million in local in-kind match, the majority from the school district itself. So,
Which is in programs that we already have in kind.
right. So,
Dr. Lanu and Tim, I was so impressed with those people that go there to the neighborhood. What you call them?
Leaders.
neighborhood leaders.
Neighborhood leaders, as they gave their dissertation and how they are having parents to change, and it reminded me. A lot of you don't remember this, but when the Hope Scholarship started many years ago, the reason for the Hope Scholarship was to help poor children have hope to go to college. That was the premise. That's how it got started. And these families were doing just what Tim them is doing now. They had, in this Hope Scholarship, they had people going into those neighborhoods, helping those parents fill out checkbooks, tell them how to buy food, and all these kind of things. And in the African American neighborhood, this had never happened. They had never had this kind of help before. And those people were going, and they were from the Hope from the beginning of the Hope Scholarship. They were from the governor's office, and they were doing this. And this Board of Education received 38 letters from parents. And every time I get ready to leave the Board of Education, I sit down and read those 38 letters. Those parents were so happy. They were so glad that people were coming into their homes, telling them how to cook, showing them how to start a bank account, to teach their children. Now, this is the same thing that the Family Connection and Communities in School, that's what they're doing now. This is the same, but this started, and what happened was that there were those who begrudged those African American students getting this help that they needed in order to go to college. So they opened up to everybody. And when they opened up to everybody, many of those youngsters who this program was set up for were not able to go because they were crowded out by the middle class and other people going to these schools. So people start sometimes with a good intention, but the other people just mess it up. But Tim,
Okay.
We're good. Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
If I could just mention one difference between this and a lot of initiatives is that those things that are happening in these neighborhoods in terms of cooking classes and after-school tutoring programs that have already been set up in the neighborhoods without the grant money, but are already there and operating.
Yes.
These things are coming from those parents. This is not us saying you need to
Yes.
do this. This is them saying
Yes.
we need to do this. How can you help us do
Right.
it? So,
Thank you very much, and thank you for wanting to speak on that.
Okay, now we're down to
Now-
item F.
Now we'll look up here, and I'm going to use this old business rather than read all of the policies. These have been on the table, so for old business number 1, I recommend there be 2, that first we remove the policies and the regulations, that we take them off the table, and followed by second, that we approve the policies.
Okay, I need a motion to remove these from the table. Moved by Ms. Williams, I got a second from Mr. Payne. All in favor of removing these items from the table? We got a unanimous vote on that. Dr. Lanu?
And then I recommend that we approve those policies as stated in item number 1.
Okay, we only voted on the policy. Now I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Wright, a second from Mr. Hahn. Okay, do we have any questions about the policies? We're only voting on the policies, not the regulations. Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed.
The second, again, this is, that I asked, there'd be 3 things that we'd ask to do on these because of the shortened time frame, and this is, of course, from the executive session conversation. Then I'm going to do 1, I'm going to ask that we remove them from the table. Second, I would ask that we suspend the rules, which needs a 2/3 vote, and then followed by, if we suspend the rules, to vote on the policies and exhibits. So first, I'd ask that we remove policies and exhibits identified in number 2 to be removed from the table.
Okay, I need a motion to remove these items from the table. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Ms. Davis. Okay, all in favor? Motion passed on
I
that.
would ask that we suspend the rules to allow us to vote on them.
Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rule, and Superintendent explained that last week why we suspended the rule. Dr. Spangler, moved by Dr. Spangler, seconded by Ms. Davis. Okay, all in favor? Okay, the rule is suspended.
Therefore, I recommend approval of policies and exhibits as identified in number 2.
Okay, recommendation for approval. Moved by Ms. Thorne, seconded by Ms. Williams. Any questions about these policies? Any questions about these policies? All in favor? Okay, motion passed. Thank you. Consent agenda.
Okay, new business, recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Recommendation for approval of the consent agenda. We had a motion from Ms. Wright, second from Mr. Payne. All in favor? Motion passed. Consent agenda. Item 14.
Item 14, in talking to Mr. Worthy, there seemed to be some questions about, because this was something we enacted almost a year and a half ago about this property and more information about the project. So I'm going to turn it over to Ted. So before I ask for a recommendation, I want to provide some more information on the Homeless Property Corporation and what that means.
Well, in response to questions, I asked Chris Evans. Chris, if you'd come up. Chris is E&E Architecture here in town and has been a amazing community member on this project and others. He's also worked with us on many projects so far. Met with us today on a playground.
Thank you.
So, Chris?
Great, thanks, Ted. Get over. Hello.
Hey,
Like Ted said, I'm Chris. Our company, E&E Architecture, is representing the Athens Homeless Property Corporation. I think tonight I'm here to, I think I've met with you all, some folks, maybe.
Property committee.
yeah,
The property committee
Yeah,
like
yeah,
several
some-
years ago now.
Right.
And here we are again to give an update. Not much of an update, but for kind of the new board members, I wanted to go over the program. I'll show some site work that we have developed, sketches and things, and I'll show some building elevations that we've been working on. I'll try to keep it brief so you guys can ask questions if that's. So just a little bit of the history. The Athens Homeless Property Corporation was derived from the LRA Group, which was the local redevelopment authority from the Navy School, if y'all remember that process.
Yes.
And that group had to identify, legally had to identify a social need for the community. And that group picked homeless. And so the party that purchased the Navy School, which is UGA, They had to commit X dollars, to be exact, $7.9 million to homeless services. Now, the items listed on the screen here are already existing in Athens. And so basically these entities in front of you are all being consolidated, if you will, to an area. One area being, the project under subject would be Bray Street. I think you guys call it 4th Street. We call it Bray Street, but it's 4th Street, which is about 6.1 acres of land.
Yes.
And then the other parcel we are working on is North Avenue, which is right in front of Advantage. So that area of town was selected by the providers, which is in front of you. And they like that area because it has amenities that can support everybody, their clients, if you will. So the board consists of about 7 members. Our job is we are basically landlords. There is with no lease, if you will. Out of the 7.9 million, there's 1.8 million reserved for maintenance for 30 years. So basically the providers will have to take care of anything for 30 years. That's the plan. In 50 years, the project turns over to the county, Athens Clarke County government. It's their buildings at that moment. So it's kind of an overview of what our role is. I mean, the board is building the buildings, just like you would see a development, like a shopping mall. We're providing the shell, and the providers are filling it in, if you will. So there's that. Let's see here. I'll start with Bray Street, and I'll go through each component of the site. So, is there a pointer? It doesn't shoot it. Oh, okay. I can talk loud if I can walk to the screen.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm pretty loud. Some days. Let's see here. So, this is Bray Street here, and Stroud is that way, where the arrow is pointing towards the arrow. This is basically 6.1 acres. You all own most of it except for just a little teeny sliver about right here, which is owned by the county, and I guess how that's being done. So basically what we have is a child care. We have a building, and child care is, it's child care. It's mainly child care for the housing in the back, and then it's open to the public as well. So they will fill the housing first, and I'll talk about the housing in a second, and then it'll be open to the public. Number 2 is Children's First, and Children's First is a organization that is, it's called Children's First. It's for children or kids, young adults, teenagers that are re-entering the foster care program. So age 16, 17 to the 20s, early 20s, they would live in a dormitory style living arrangement where they would have about a 300 square foot room with a kitchenette and a bathroom and a place to sleep. And then they would have a common kitchen, common living room, common amenities from that. And that is supervised 24/7 by someone who's going to run the facility. Number 3 is a community center that will support the whole site, if you will. What's unique about the community center is the providers they're working with UGA and working with the department called Aspire. I don't know if you're familiar with Aspire, but they offer free services such as balancing your checkbooks, how to raise a family, and things like that. So they would actually help the families that are living here. Probably the most important part is the housing part. And housing is traditional. It's transitional housing. It is for families. It is for men who are raising kids. It's for moms and dads who are raising families. It's for moms who are raising kids. And it is basically a 2-year process. So the families will live there for about 2 years, and they will, in hopes that they will move on. It's very similar to what's happening at the Athens Homeless Shelter in Barber Street. Very, very similar. It's identical. And that's who's actually going to be running that. Advantage is going to run number 6, and number 4 and 5 are being run by Athens Homeless Shelter. Is there any questions about that site?
Can I ask what's the total occupancy looking for the house?
Our goal is 24 units. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
I know you're the architect.
Yes.
Are you also on the board?
I am not. I'm an advisor to the board now. Who's on the board? There's about 7. It's kind of been moving a little bit. Clay Brand is the president. Tom Scott is on the board. Bob Carson's on the board. Kevin Lang from Fortson Bentley is he's our attorney, but he's not a board member. We have 2 members from what they call Arch, and Arch is the providers. That would be Children's First, Athens Homeless Shelter, Advantage. Those are the providers. AIDS Athens, the Nurses Clinic. So there's 2 members on the board.
How many board members live in Athens, Clarke County?
Every single one.
You mentioned about the dormitories being supervised 24/7. I do recall 2 years ago when you presented to the property committee, you talked about rules and regulations.
Yes. Yes.
Would you just sort of briefly talk about that?
It's Children's First is a really controlled, it's a controlled environment. The kids have curfews. They either go to school or they have a job. That's kind of, it's very controlled. Does that satisfy, or you need more?
Well, I think you mentioned 2 years ago, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, they gotta go.
They gotta go.
Yeah.
That is actually
That's
true.
what I am.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
They are selected. They can enter the program. Everyone has to sign up. Everyone is approved. There is a selection process for, even the housing is a selection process. And we see it, I want to stress this, every organization or the provider already exists in Athens, and they're already doing this every single day, right, currently.
This is a location.
Yeah, so if I could say, those that will be taking advantage of this currently are living in different places in Athens, in either subset or smaller programs.
There is a waiting list for it to be a part of the housing. Children's First is new to Athens. There's one very similar in Atlanta that's very successful. But Children's First is very new. Children's First has a tie to CASA. If you're familiar with CASA, it's the same person who will be running it.
And the ideal of this is to help people to get back on their feet and become that productive citizens. Looking out for the little ones that they can provide an education for.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And the other thing, it's different from the housing projects in that they can't just stay there forever. They got a certain length of time that they have to get in there, get a job, and move on.
And if you've ever visited the facility in Barber Street, it is a great example. It's exactly what they'll be doing.
Okay.
Exactly. They cook together. These won't cook there because they have their own kitchens. On Barber Street, they share a kitchen. But it is transitional 2 years.
And so what is the unmet demand? So it accommodates 24 units. What numbers do you project in terms of unmet demand with that 24 being served? With 24 units, how many people that accommodate?
24 families.
24 families. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the waiting list like? How many?
Ooh, that I don't know. I'd have to get back to you. That I do not know. That would be a question to the provider themselves. But I can figure that. I can get that to you.
That would be good.
That'd be easy.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sarah.
I don't know. I don't recall the exact number, but I do remember being chokingly, staggeringly upset about it. The number of homeless students who we have in our population, and what's the referral basis like? And is there any sort of cooperation between our homeless liaison? I don't recall her name. And is there any?
Katie Wheeler.
Is there Katie Wheeler? Is her name?
Is she at Stroud?
Huh?
Is she at Stroud?
She works here.
She works here.
Right.
But is there any referral basis to get, is it, I recognize that this is not a partnership with the school system, but is there any sort of a referral? How do the people get to occupy one of those 24 units, and is there any priority from a school system standpoint since it is catering to families and kids and all of that?
There's a network, and there's a network of social workers basically that is. I'll try to describe it, but it's just a network that they share. They get a client, they get what they need, and they kind of refer them somewhere else. Sarah, if you knew somebody that was homeless, you could refer them. You could do it. You could, and they would apply. They may be on the waiting list, but they could apply. So it's a pretty.
So it's just an open.
It's very
Okay.
open. I mean, there's obviously screening for, there's
Of course,
screening
yeah.
of-
I just am hoping
yeah.
some of our families in need are gonna get serviced by this property as well, because we just have so many.
Will Barber Street remain open after this is built?
Yes, it will remain open.
Okay.
And I guess that was my question, because when I looked at the partners, it didn't seem, I recognized the names up there, but they're not like the same folk that make up the Homeless Coalition.
That's right.
I don't see them, are they, I mean, so there's a group of folk that have been working around homeless issues, but they don't seem to be a part of this process.
All of these are government, mainly government funded or supplemented by the government through the community block at some level. Some of them are grant oriented, but they're mainly, government. They're being supported by our government on a daily basis on their budgets. Let me go back. I can answer your question a little bit more as we go further, but I want to point out one other thing. In our agreement, our contract with you all, there is a sidewalk, and it's not 100% guaranteed where it's coming from, but somehow we're going to get a sidewalk to 4th
Yes.
Street,
Mhm.
and
Right.
so that
That was-
these children can walk.
That was in the first agreement.
Yes, that's so. We're not sure exactly. As you know, this is a very difficult site. It's got about a 6% slope to it. It's very challenging for us, but we love the site. I mean, we've looked at 8 sites before we even kind of moved forward as we did on this one. So that's one site, and I'll just there's nothing rocket science about our buildings. They're just housing. They're 2-story. That's the community center. That will have a kitchenette, a warming kitchen, bathrooms, a place to gather. They use this as a place to teach and have seminars for families. Our childcare will hold about 32 kids, and that is actually going to be run by a private organization. So a local company will be taking over that. We have our dormitory is a 3-story unit, and then as we move to North Avenue, this is kind of the office building. This is what we call the Athens Resource Center. This is where a lot of our disciplines come together. This is a 2-story building. This site slopes from north to south. So on the south side, we have about 3 stories. On the ground level, this building will house day services. So day services are folks that are homeless, that have signed up for the program, have been accepted into the program, and they are allowed to, they may sleep, who knows where they sleep, let's say. They would be able to come to the front door, they will get let in, they can use computers, they can use job tracking, which is another program in this building, they can use showers, and the restrooms. So this is a place where to help those folks get back on their feet. So they offer these services. They give away clothes. There's probably 10,000 square feet of, not 10,000, 5,000 or so of just donation rooms. I mean, just for people that give things. So that's where day services work. As you move on the ground floor, Advantage will take some of those offices for administrations and job tracking. As you move upstairs is more unique. That's where the Athens Nurses Clinic will be. That's where the dental clinic will be. That's where AIDS Athens will be. So that will be all medical on that second level. And then on the ground level, there will be some administration offices, which is on the south side, and a conference room for them as well. Okay. Any questions on that building?
That's not school property at all.
No, that is county property that we are leasing from the county.
And one of the things I remember that that was stated when you were here before was the fact that this is centrally located for these people to get the services that they need is close by. They can walk and get the service they need. And this new building you talk about, that will add to their advantage of using computers and doing whatever they need to do.
Yeah, I mean, it was picked purposely. There's a bus stop, There's a bus stop in the corner at Bray and North Avenue. Advantage is just below that little white box, and then up the street going ahead on North Avenue, you have grocery stores, drugstores,
Yes.
and amenities that one would need and can walk to. So
You mentioned dormitories.
Mhm.
Where is the dormitory?
the dormitory is what we call an Arts Village, which is the Bray Street property. And when I say dormitories, it's the dormitories is a type of living facility. You have your own bedroom, which is about 300 square feet, and you have a kitchenette and a bathroom and a bed and a place to sit.
And its capacity?
They are going to hold 8 kids in there. And then they will share a bigger kitchen, a computer lab, a living area together. Any other questions? Great, thank you for your time.
Thank you. And with that, just to put this back into context, that we had an agreement, just as they look at budgets, and after the evaluation of the property, we found out that it was actually less property than we anticipated. That actually was 5.4 acres rather than the 6.1 acres. It was the property committee's decision and recommendation that we would use the same acre cost that we were using, the cost per acre, except we adjust the total amount to reflect 5.4 acres roughly versus 6.1. So therefore, that would change the cost, the selling price from $467,788, and the new cost that we would sell the property for would be $407,467, and I recommend that we approve that amendment to the purchase contract this evening.
Okay, got a motion from Ms. Wright and a second from Mr. Payne. Any further questions about this? Go ahead, Ms. Burr.
One question I meant to ask before we sat down. There you go. When is this? When is groundbreaking? When is this? This has been 2 years ago, right? That we entered this agreement.
Yes.
So now, when is groundbreaking is supposed to happen? Yes, please.
That's a great question, the schedule. I guess, based on what I just learned today, the Bray Street property, what you guys call 4th Street, has a process of a PD, a plan development with Clarke County, the government. That'll take about 8 months to get that approval by mayor and commission. We are good with the resource center, and we are moving forward with final drawings. We probably will start construction in, I would say, next summer, early next summer.
I don't know whether you all read the article in the paper, but that was an article in the paper that was signed by the contractors, and they was really down in asking government for taking so long to get these things processed. And just like he said, in Atlanta or some other places, it wouldn't take this long, but I don't know why it takes so long here in Clarke County.
Maybe I can help out on that, Mr. Payne.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help out on that.
I'll be down to see you.
Well, see if I can follow that through.
I can't wait till you get out.
Just to be clear, we just received our money from UGA last January, so that's what we had to wait until we received our funds before we actually can begin the actual physical work. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Any further questions? Any further questions? All in favor? Show of your right hand, please. All in favor? And we have a unanimous vote on that. Yes, thank you. Motion passed. Item 15.
Make sure, 15, and this is approval of purchases. Just to bring us back, the board approved the allocation of the purchase of computers, thinking that we may be able to get them off the state bid list, and in fact, if we needed to, we could get them ahead of time. My feeling, at that point, it was our decision that we needed to definitely go out to bid and to bring those bids to the board for any discussion or clarification. Put it back into perspective is that we have over 6,000 computers in our district in some configuration, from laptops to desktops to you name it, that we purchase with public funds and title funds over the years, knowing in fact that this was the year, it's time for them to go. They have lived their lifespan. And so that brings about that there's a large refresh, and this has been planned as part of SPLOS and as part of SPLOS 4, along with, as you know, we've been approving infrastructure changes to position ourselves to move into digital learning environments. The solutions that we are proposing tonight, I think are good solutions for where we are now and need to be, and I believe are cost us less. And let me put that in perspective when we talk about netbooks for students. By pulling back and changing our configuration, so rather than putting 6 desktops in an elementary, for the same price we can put 10 or 12 netbooks, because the netbook cost is a lot less. In our question about netbooks or iPads and what kind of devices, we have to understand that the device in and of itself really isn't the focus. The device just takes you where you need to be. So my recommendation tonight to go to netbooks, and our team, we have a design team that's been working with UGA and the State Department all year, but the reason that we're choosing netbooks, one, is because of what they'll do, their durability, and their cost, because that we can get a 3-year warranty. And let's put it out there, if we have $600 or $700 to spend for a device, it didn't seem like the best way to go to put $700 to have a device last 5 years, knowing that the technology is changing. It makes better sense to get a device that does what you want it to do for $300, get a 3-year warranty, and then reevaluate your needs. So in this solution, rather than just going back and replacing everything, the solution we're asking for, of course, does what we want us to do. It moves us toward that one-to-one environment. This will allow us to go a 2-to-1 ratio. That means that there'll be one device for every 2 students in grades 3 through 12, and it will give us a 3-to-1 ratio in K2. It will also provide a set number of labs, and the labs we're going to use laptops because they have to be a little bit more robust because of some of the software that we have. And of course the desktops, if the thing's going to be a desktop, we're going to put a desktop. If it's not moving, we'll do that. So some of these are predicted numbers because it's constantly shifting with changes in faculty. But I think the solutions that we're offering between the netbooks, the teacher laptops and then the projection devices, and I'll talk more specifically when we get to that one, are good ones for our districts. They allow us the best flexibility and doesn't take us out by using technology for the next 5 years knowing it's going to change. So with that, and what I'm going to do is ask for, why don't I go ahead and put it on ask for, to put the recommendation on the table so that we can then talk about it in discussion. Then I'll ask Lynn to explain a little more. Not on the table. I want a motion. So I'm asking first that we approve the purchase of 5,155 new student computer systems from CWG in the amount of $2,433,530.44 using SPLOS technology funds. And I've asked.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on the district-wide student computer purchase, and he mentioned to you the 5,155 computers, $2 million there. Got a motion from Ms.
Right. Can I ask some clarity? What SPLOS is this from?
Ted,
Wait a minute, the motion.
Let me get this motion
I wanted
first.
clarity on the motion, but go ahead.
Okay. You making the motion, Ms. Williams?
I will.
Okay, and then second from Mr. Hutt. Now, go ahead, Ms. Williams.
I was just asking which SPLOS.
SPLOS 4.
Okay, all right. Okay. Now, any other questions about this? You want to go ahead and make them?
Well, Dr. Lanou eloquently explained a lot. I have the device that we have chosen. I'll pass around if y'all want to feel how light it is. We feel like it's pretty durable. Just so you know, we are going to have them laser etched, which can't be scratched off, so we're hoping that will reduce any loss that we incur. What's really great about this is it is at such a low price point, and for what it does, it's just great. I think Dr. Lanou has already said he's had parents ask, what is the device, because I want my child to have it, and to have a computer at around $350 is great. So.
And that includes a warranty, and so
Right, it's got a
replacement cost
3-year
would be a little less.
That's right. It's got a 3-year warranty on it. Of course, that doesn't cover if it's damaged due to negligence, but if anything breaks on it, we will have that under warranty for 3 years, and then we will refresh it in 3 years with something else, either another netbook or who knows at this point. We can't. If we knew, we all wouldn't be sitting in this room for sure.
So I read, was it 1 gig each or 1 or 2?
The one we selected was 2. The price difference was so minimal when you look at the grand scheme of things. I know those are big numbers, but you know, again, it just kind of everything is coming due at the same time. This was time to refresh stuff,
So
and
we're still doing Windows
yes,
as an operating system?
yes.
Because it matches a lot of the curriculum.
Right, a lot of our software requires that, but we're not buying Office for the student devices. They are going to be using Google, so that saved us a tremendous amount of money because we have bought Office licenses in the past for student devices.
Good, Dr. Spangler.
I have 2 questions. One, so we're not going with the lowest bidder by a little bit, but it's because of the set of options they're proposing. This wasn't strictly a monetary decision.
There were 2, right, there were 2 bids that were lower than the one we selected at the 2 gig model. The lowest one did not meet specs that were required, and the other one, the replacement cost on the device was less, and we thought that was important. Not only, you know, just so you all are reminded, we can make these purchases out of SPLOST, but if something is broken and we have to replace it, it comes out of the general fund. So we wanted to get the lowest price we could if we need to replace them, but for also our families as well.
So you're not going with the lowest bid, but you're going with the best bid.
Right, right. They charge more on services and things like that, and that's why their unit price was higher.
Okay, got it. Ms. Thornton?
And mine is not really a question, and I know the news people, the news media is not here, but we just want to make sure that.
There she is.
Oh, you're the news lady. Oh, you don't look like Lee.
We have a news.
You don't look like. They should have introduced.
Okay.
Oh, you Pat. Okay, Pat is good. Okay. Well, good. Let me quote this quite clearly. You know, when we talk about spending that kind of money with the cuts that we've had, it's got to be very clear that this is splash money and not general funds or any other title money. And people, we said it, but we need to emphasize it, especially what we're going through financially, that this is what this money has to be used for or can be used for.
And we have had that in mind as we have made these decisions, because we know some things do impact the general fund, these decisions that we make, and we have really tried to be very aware of that because it is a lot of money.
And piggybacking on what Ms. Thornton said, this is what the voters voted for.
That's right. That's right.
About that. This is what they voted for.
And it's timely. I mean, this is the time to roll out, so it is timely.
Right.
Go ahead, Thomas.
I know someone who lost an electronic device.
Me?
I was gonna say but somehow y'all were able to find it.
Me?
Can you do that with this?
Not at that point.
Tyler, do you want to? Not really. We're going to work with Fabian and make sure the police department knows what they look like and what our logo is that's going to be etched into it.
So it is kind of a proprietary design just specifically for this school district?
What are you talking about? The machine itself? No, it's not.
Okay, so
we're just going to have it etched with our.
Etching is going to do. And who's the manufacturer? Is that
We kind of go back and forth. Is it Asus or Asus? We're not quite sure how.
They're a large international.
Yeah, they're a big company.
Very reputable
big
company.
Yeah.
The other, sorry.
Denise had 2 questions. She only got to do her one.
That's all right, I can take turns. So the distinction between this item and item 20 is that these are items that you could imagine keeping in classrooms that kids would use on a daily basis, whereas item 20 is things that are going in media centers and computer labs and also staff computers.
That'd be correct.
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure I was clear on that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Payne.
Now, you said that you won't be able to put a little chip or something in this machine yet, so you can track it. You can't do it.
At that price point, it's not economical to do it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, this is new for us to have that kind of device in the beginning. We're not going to let students take them home. So we'll see when we get to that point what.
I think we were looking at this price point. We need to enter in because at some point it just starts costing more to try to track it down than it does for the actual
I just
device.
asked, I know they got all this technology.
We could keep that off public record. That's the word we probably don't want to get out.
Yes. Just not tell anybody.
That's right.
Okay.
I think
Just one quick clarification on the question on SPLOST. As you might remember, as we planned for this SPLOST 4, we planned it along with SPLOST 3, the dollars that were remaining. So we looked at all of the projects from that point on. So the question about is this SPLOST 4, it's the remaining SPLOST 3, which are doing the first tier projects, including this, and SPLOST 4, if that makes sense.
Go ahead, Don.
How many other school districts are doing this sort of thing?
I don't know off the top of my head. There are a lot. What's a lot mean? I don't know. There's some around. Elbert County started it last year or the year before. And I've talked to some of them, and they're saying good things about what's happening and the worries that they had. Some of the angst that we have ended up not being an issue. So
the visits that we've had is, and we're probably one of the few districts that are looking comprehensively K through 12.
Right.
I mean, and this matches the initiative that we have with the State Department of hooking digital resources. I mean, if we go back, so just so everyone knows that our goal is that every student will have an account. And every student, whether they've got this device or any device or from home, will be able to go to their own personal landing page. And that landing page will have the resources that they will have. We'll have an electronic locker, we'll have a Dropbox, a communication tool, and eventually an assessment tool. But our goal is certainly from classroom and eventually combining this with a BYOT, bring your own technology, bring your own device initiative, so that our students will be using digital resources. You put that together with a movement of non-proprietary software and the fact that we're not putting large dollars into textbook and those kinds of items, which were millions of dollars, we have to believe there are savings.
We're not just putting another device out there. We're changing the way we do business, and it's exciting.
And so my only dilemma is we have iPads. This is Apple technology.
Right.
This is definitely not Apple technology. And so is there any concern with I don't know much about the systems that have been developed that the children use that are developed in the classroom.
Cross-platform.
Are we still doing Windows-based?
We have a mix. You'll see down in item 20, we are buying some Macs. There are some situations where our classrooms need that in graphic arts, some of the journalism classes, things like that. But
more Mac.
Right. Okay. Mac is more expensive. We couldn't. The cheapest we can get an iPad for is $400 or $500 right now, and we can't work on those. Our technicians can at least do some repair on these, so it's just cost prohibitive to do that at this point.
Right, but we also thought that the kind of work we're having with the keypad gives us greater versatility, in what we want kids. But I think we have to think about is that all of the work that we're doing are pretty much cross-platform. They're pretty mobile. If we're using Google Docs and we're
using Google and stuff like that.
Right. So when we start looking at our desktop sharing platform, except for some specialty,
right?
We think you can do it from an iPhone or you can do it from a netbook.
And I think it's important to note we started school this year with every student having a Google account. Right. So we're taking steps, leaps and bounds. Do you have another question?
Any further questions? Any further questions from board members? Okay.
Thanks for bringing up the device.
All in favor? Let me see if you show up your right hand, please. This motion. Okay. Item 17. 16. I'm sorry. 16.
The next is the purchase of projection devices, and just give you a sense. Well, you know what, Lynn? Go ahead.
My turn now, huh?
Your turn. You don't tag. Yeah.
To tag.
I'll fill in the gaps this time.
Right. As you can see, we put this out to bid. We worked with our consultant, Pete DeGoss, for the solution, and we're real excited about it. I've had the privilege of showing lots of teachers in the district this solution and talking about it, and they're just so anxious to get it in their classroom. We awarded this to the lowest bid, so there's not, I don't have to explain the cost on this one, but this is the one that is installed over in our model classroom on Paradise in the district services building. And just to kind of walk you through it, you know, it's a different way of doing business, and it's taking up less room in the classroom and all that, but over on the back of that, you see that little black box? That's the computer. That's how tiny it is. This is pretty much, you know, the computer is about this big. It's just very small. And that allows the teacher to remote to that device. Let me try to explain it. And do anything they want to from anywhere in the room. And not only the teacher, but also the students as well. So that's the big game changer on this whole projection system, is having that computer up there that allows anyone from anywhere, from anything in the room to project. And the front of that is the little black box over to the right. That's a webcam. Well, $99 camera that can really change the way things are done. I don't think I said this in here, but we were showing this to teachers, and one of the teachers immediately said, "Oh, that'll be great. We can have debates between Clarke Central and Cedar Shoals, and nobody leaves the classroom." And there's just, and you just watch their faces light up and come up with all these things that, you know, teachers are great at doing, and it's just it's exciting. You had a question?
Yes, ma'am. How much training will the teachers need in order to operate this?
It's very simple, and it's also very similar to what they're using now. This projector is interactive, while before it was the board on the wall that was interactive. So they're used to using an interactive projector. Of course, we will, you know, train them where needed.
You know, I'm very high on allowing those people like myself who takes a little longer to catch on the technology.
Right.
And they need enough time to learn.
Right.
Because when you go in the classroom and they don't know how to operate these machines, they're just blank on the wall and they're not in use.
Right.
And so I would hope that you would allow them enough time.
You know, instructional services is great about, I think we've gotten to the point where we're not making people take a class just to make them take the class if they don't need it, because we're at all such varied levels of skill, and teachers are great about helping each other, but yes, we will train when needed.
And I'd like to add too, is because it dovetails with the smart boards we had, which have served us well. It's just, this is a different solution, but getting us the same, actually expanded capabilities. That means that we will use our smart board, but as they break, we won't replace them.
Right.
Because the interactive piece is in this camera, is in this projector. So therefore, we can still use the surface when they break, but right now when they break, you can't fix them. They basically get replaced. So the replacement cost, this solution is much less, by almost, 56, well, between you put wires in.
Right. It's about $1,800 versus a little over $3,000, so it's quite a bit cheaper. And that helps us too, you know, when we do these SPLOS plans with technology, it is a blanket plan, that's the plan, and we implement it, but there's always a portable added here that we need to pay for out of the general fund, because you can't do one-offs out of SPLOS money. So it's great that this solution is much more cost effective and it's much more robust.
And we don't have to, the other part too is that we call it untethering. It untethers the teacher from having to plug in at the cord. They can be anywhere. It untethers the students. They can be anywhere. But also is we don't have to put wires in the walls. We don't have to feed wires up in the ceiling, getting the jacks down. This is better, plug it in, you put your wireless computer on the top.
Yes, sir.
My question is that this is a new machine, and how much research have you done to make sure that it's going to operate? What I'm saying is that it's new, and a lot of times people put out different kinds of machinery, and they'll think it works, but after you work it 6 months, it doesn't work.
Right. They've been out for a few years, actually, the interactive projectors have, but we just kind of were not in a position where we could just pull out the projectors we had because they were still good.
How much training will our technician need to repair one of these machines?
We don't actually do any repair work on those, do we, Taylor? The projector itself? A little bit. Y'all are good to go though, right? They don't need any training.
Okay.
You ready to make the
So therefore, I recommend that we approve the purchase of new projection systems from Summit System in the amount of $1,678,940.61.
Okay, the recommendation from the
That's from Speed Loss.
Speed Loss Fund from Summit, and he's giving you the figure. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Huff, got a second from Dr. Spangle. Any further questions on that? Any further questions? All in favor? All in favor? Did we get a unanimous vote on that? We did. Thank you. Okay, all right. 17.
Maybe this one will be easier, I don't know. This approval of the local board training plan for 2012-13 is presented, and that will be submitted to the Georgia Department of Ed no later than September 1, and we have revised that according to the comments and individuals for the board members. Okay, the one for February.
Okay. All righty, got a motion from Mr. Huff, got a second from Ms. Davis. Any questions about our training plan?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, Dr. Luna, I know this is new. The State Board of Education is just now coming to life. It's like they've been sleeping for a long time, but they're like they're coming to life. They're making sure that we're doing something and they're doing something. But my question is this: on this training program, once you send in the material, will it be necessary for us to go ahead and fill out an application? Because they have a training thing on my iPad now.
Individual plan.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, so rather than say yes or no, something tells me that it's yes, but I don't know your world with your plans.
No, but what I'm saying is, I started filling mine out, and I didn't put the dates down, I didn't put the time down, I didn't write down the program.
No, well, you know, you and I talked about this, and I think that you're going to be premature on that because, see, Dr. Lanu said last week, now some of this is subject to change, you know, so I would think that not to do it, because if you do it prematurely, it may change and you have to do it all over again. Let's just wait until the sessions are held.
Let us do this because that's a detail. I think it's important that we do our whole board, and then we'll research that and get to,
do that.
You know, just to make sure if there's anything when we submit as a whole board, do you have to do something as an individual?
Right, and this was on my iPad, and I was just wondering. I said if I go ahead and fill this out, then the other board members put out something else, and then all 9 of us will be different when you get to Atlanta.
Sure.
So we need to be together on it. That's the only thing that I'm saying.
And could I say at this point that I recommend that we keep these dates unless there's something there. I think the topics are appropriate and timely. I just think we always have an opportunity to change. You're responsible, at least current board members, for 9 hours. New, it's 15 hours.
Yes.
But that can be part of GSBA. But here it's 12 hours, so a board member would have to, if this counts for their full 9 hours, would need to attend 3 out of the 4. Hopefully 4 out of the 4, but. Okay.
Okay, any further questions about the training plan?
Now, are these dates, final dates, or they're tentative dates?
I'm going to say final dates.
It takes so long for us to put these together.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the lead time.
Final dates.
Dr. Spain, you have a question?
Can I just ask you to edit this before you send it in and take my title off since nobody else has a title? I just think that's awkward when one board member has a title and everybody else doesn't.
Well, you earned that.
Noted.
Like, I don't care. It doesn't make any difference here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All righty, all in favor?
Do we have a motion in a second?
We got a motion.
Yeah, I got a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, passed unanimously, okay? And 19. 18. I'm saying. Okay, 18.
And of course, we made that, this is our strategic plan. We've seen it on numerous occasions.
Yes, we have.
The only difference is performance objective E is we added the established programs and implement process to ensure the health and wellness of our children in collaboration with school district divisions and local, state, and federal organizations. I think when we vote on this, we have to understand that the strategic plan still is a living document. That it's not something that's cast in stone. If we believe there's something we missed or something that doesn't seem to be valid, we can come back to the table. Please know that I need to come back to you with an e-board performance objectives. Once we approve this, we'll align those. So when we come back, there'll be performance objectives. Just going to align it to the new career index. And also, there may be time as we add initiative, especially under the health and wellness. I could see very easily that every month we may add an initiative or discuss an initiative. I just don't see us all of a sudden bringing 5 initiatives and we approve it. I think that's as you go. Yeah. So.
Dr. Lanu, when you were talking about the balanced scorecard.
Right. That's correct. Yeah. The balanced scorecard, the performance targets with the new index and where we're at. We're going to go back and align our the balanced scorecard to these initiatives because we've pared them down. So I think they'll be much more succinct. So they'll look a little bit different organizationally, but we'll keep some of this, obviously the same targets. We probably have to add some around social studies and science because those are a new part of the index.
Yeah. But the scorecard
will stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that framework, yes.
So we can see.
You can see it, absolutely.
Okay.
I recommend approval.
Okay, all right. I need a motion on the strategic plan 2012-2013. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Ms. Davis. Any further questions? Any further questions?
I have it's not a question, it's probably a statement. I'm glad that you said that this is a living document and subject to some flexibility. As much as you have prepared us for this, I was going, until you said that, I was going to abstain. But to know that we're going to keep on, nurturing this, I feel a lot better. But I did want to put that out there.
Go ahead.
I wanted to again applaud that the performance adding in the wellness thing, being in the goal 1 and it being objective E, aligning with triple E being the wellness, and the couple of the things in the wellness policy that talk about each school having a representative, as well as a monitoring of adherence, that those could be used target lines for those initiatives in there would be awesome. And then the increased efficiency and effective of the organizational structures, I thought all those were excellent.
And so there will be measurements, right, that go along
Yes.
with all of these, and
Yes.
so we'll get that. And I'm happy.
That would be, Dr. Price, that will come with Tim, but we would need to bring those hopefully within a month. We've got the data that we can bring those.
Right, one of the things we're waiting for was the graduation
Right.
information to
Right.
finalize that,
Right.
so we can definitely do that.
But we would have most of the other indicators.
Okay, any further questions on the strategic plan? All in favor? Motion passed unanimous. Thank you. Item 19.
The next was taken off the consent because of Dr. Spangler's. So I request approve the submission of a grant application, Georgia Department of Education's Math Science Partnership Grant Program.
Okay, recommendation on item 19, moved by Mr. Payne. I got a second by Mr. Huff. Any questions about this one? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and we got one abstention. On
Conflict of
Dr.
interest.
Spangler. Item 20.
Item 20 is what we added to this, and this is the third leg of our computer recommendations. And this is for the teacher laptops, desktops, and these come off our state bid lists, and we'll get them either at that price or below. But I know teachers are very anxious, and but you have maybe can show at least very anxious because as I said to our faculty, when they turn them on, they just say not now, and maybe not tomorrow. They're that old, and the battery life is about 4 minutes.
This one go around.
You got to make sure it comes back. You want to make sure it comes back.
She's got one just like this.
But we chose for our teachers to make sure that they got a robust tool that they can need to do their work.
This is a Dell? This is a...
We've come a long way.
Yes, yes.
So while they're looking at that, my recommendation will be approve the purchase of approximately, depending on state bid list, 2,550 new computer systems from Apple, CDWG, and Dell at or below the state contract pricing, and the amount not to exceed $3 million. SPLOST technology funds will be used, and again, this is for your Mac labs, your specialty labs, teacher laptops, and to fulfill all of the other labs that we have that are going to be by laptop.
And also all staff computers.
And all office staff.
And we can track these.
We are hoping that our staff will do an excellent job of taking care of their stuff, just like they have the past
And can
several
I
laptop purchases.
make one note, just because I think it's important as we look at the magnitude of this. We also have a plan in place to pull all of our current technology back, to assess to make sure that if it still has use, and we believe it does, but I've told the faculty, you're not keeping it. Because what happens, people think it's got another year left, and pretty soon we've got this mismatch of stuff that can't run.
Right.
So we're gonna pull it all back.
All back.
We'll create an image that we can use for our parents, and we're gonna give them back to our schools to give back, and I'll ask for a large surplus, and they go back into our parents' hands so we can create digital learners in our parent community. And if we do this well, we could have over 4,000, if not more, units, whatever, that can go back into our community.
Okay, you made the recommendation,
I do. Yep, that's it.
All right, that's on item 20, the district-wide computer purchase, for the teachers and offices, et cetera. I need a motion on that. Moved by Dr. Spangler, seconded by Ms. Wright. Okay, any further questions? Any further questions? Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Does this include cases and any other peripherals that teachers need, or is that on top of this?
It actually includes a sleeve. We're not buying full laptop cases. We're trying to save money. Lots of people like them, some don't, and so if they want one, they're just going to have to buy a case.
And they're not real
so light.
practical anymore.
Actually, it's harder to carry with a bag than it is if you just carry it in the sleeve.
And we also have things like peripherals on. If people want a wireless mouse, they'll do that.
Everything is so cheap now.
Okay, go ahead, Ms.
So my question is, with three different, since I've sat here, three different technologies rolling across the table, how many people do you have in your IT support department to support all these devices? This is a lot of equipment.
Well, we actually haven't really had a net increase, believe it or not. That's about how many we have now. It might be a little bit more. We've got just an awesome staff that is just able to do amazing things, and they'll be more than happy to see the old stuff go and support the new stuff.
We're supporting that many machines now.
Yeah, it's just
that are
different.
5 years old. So this will be
And that's
a
an
good
important point to make. People, think, if you just took a look at it at the surface, oh, you're buying all these devices, and we're losing people, and what are you, but it is what we already have. It's just different.
Right.
Okay, any further questions? Any further questions? All in favor? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, we are down to personnel recommendations.
Recommend approval of personnel recommendations and a job description and addendum.
Oh, that was him.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent on the personnel list from the electronic pack, and also the addendum, and you also had one job description. If you reviewed those, okay, need a motion? Moved by Dr. Spangler, got a second? On this end and this end, got a second? Second from Ms. Williams?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right. Okay.
Who seconded?
Well, Ms. Williams seconded. Okay, go ahead.
Is this a new position or?
No.
Okay.
This is, thank you, the Director of Grants is an existing position, except the job description was 2001.
But
And so we've upgraded
she's also retiring.
She's retiring.
Tony Reed, Dr. Tony Reed is retiring at the end of September. So we took the opportunity to revise the job description, since the last time it was revised was 2001.
Okay.
I'm glad of that.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if this is a executive session question, but why did we vote on her contract, to enter a contract months ago, and she's just retiring now?
What happens is every year we have to extend the contracts for a year. Some people had submit their interest to retire in October, so we have to award the contract for the year, knowing that there'd be a resignation. Otherwise, there'd be no contract starting in July.
All right, if there's no further comments or questions, because we're on personnel, we're limited in what we can say out of anyway, okay? All in favor? All righty, thank you very much. Motion passed. I need a motion for adjournment. Moved by Ms. Davis, seconded by Mr. Payne. All righty, all in favor, raise your hand now. Okay, all right.
Thank you.